Yo everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're keeping well, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about 5 things I do every single day to stay in shape, because remaining quite lean whilst making some progress along the way in terms of muscle growth is something that I've become quite good at over recent years, and a lot of it just comes back to repeating key actions again and again until they have just become second nature, a way of life. And the best thing is, these are things you will be able to implement pretty much straight away. And trust me when I say they can make a big difference over time. So let me fill you in on these little nuggets of information. And the first thing that I want to talk about is my nutrition, and in particular having some go-to main meals. Because don't get me wrong, it is great getting creative. It is great trying out new recipes, but I save that usually for 1 to 2 days per week when I have more time on my hands, and the rest of the time I have my go-to staple meals that I just know work well for me. Because let's be real, nobody is massively arsed cooking up a storm on a Tuesday evening after a long and stressful day of work. But you know, it is when you put yourself under that kind of pressure to keep getting creative, that is when it becomes a lot more tempting to just say screw it and pick up the phone and order a pizza instead. Whereas when you have your go-to quick and easy meals, it just takes a lot of the thinking and a lot of the effort out of it. So for me, my main go-to meals are protein porridge for breakfast, and to be honest, that hasn't changed in a long time. I am a huge fan. For lunch, I will usually have some form of lean meat with some frozen veg, and there's actually a bag of frozen veg that you can get over here, and it has like zucchini, aubergine, it has peppers, it has potatoes in it as well. It is really tasty. And then for dinner, I have a few different ones on rotation. So it could be a fajita style dish. I might have chicken, tender stem broccoli, and sweeter white potato. And sometimes I might actually go for an egg scramble and potato dish with some hot sauce on top. And usually these meals have a pretty similar calorie content. So for example, my breakfast usually have around 500 calories, and they have a pretty similar protein content as well. So somewhere between 35 and 50 grams. And that just makes my life so much easier, because you know, if I want to swap out one dinner meal for another from a calorie and protein perspective, there's not much of a difference. And yeah, before I move on to my next point, I would actually love to know if you have any go-to meals, whether it's for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. I could always do with some extra inspiration, so comment below and let me know. But next up, I want to talk about how I personally find a balance between socializing, meals out, alcohol, and remaining quote-unquote on plan. And let's start with alcohol. And I suppose when it comes to this, there are 3 main things to consider. So number 1 is that alcohol is typically quite calorie dense, especially the likes of beer, cider, and cocktails. Number 2 is that it does cause a temporary increase in hunger, which can be quite problematic, especially for me. And number 3 is that when you drink alcohol in excess, it does cause a temporary reduction in muscle protein synthesis, which is pretty much the process in which our body grows muscle. So let me tell you how I work around each of these things. And let's start with alcohol being quite calorie dense. And to be honest, I do love a cocktail, I will not lie, but what I will typically try and do is limit that to just 1, and then I will move on to something more calorie friendly, and that is usually a vodka and Diet Coke, because a cocktail can contain about 250, 300 calories, whereas a vodka and Diet Coke is going to contain about 80 calories. That is a significant saving, and most spirits and low or 0 calorie mixers are going to be roughly the same. Then when it comes to the increase in hunger, this is probably what I find the most difficult to manage, and it can be very hard for me not to split a pizza with Rachel or one of my friends at the end of the night. But what I do find works quite well for me is having something prepared or something in my mind that I am going to eat when I get home. And it could be something as simple as a few slices of toast, but that way I am only consuming 200 or 300 calories at the end of the night versus 1000 calories or more. And then when it comes to the impact that alcohol can have on muscle recovery and growth, the key thing here to remember is that this is only an issue when you are drinking in excess. So when I'm having a few drinks, which is once every couple of weeks on average, I will do my best to limit it to 4 to 5 max unless it is a big occasion. And you know, 4 to 5, it's still quite a few, but I know that if I cap it here, I will still be pretty fresh the next morning. It might have a small impact on muscle recovery and growth, but not much. Whereas if I start drinking more, that is when I know I am playing with fire. Then from a nutrition standpoint, I will typically eat out about 2 times per week, and that is usually a dinner on a Saturday evening and a breakfast or a lunch on a Sunday or something along those lines anyway. And to be honest, I used to stress a lot more about calculating the calories in these meals, but now I take a much more laid back approach, and I'm pretty okay with assigning a rough number of calories that I think will cover the meal and not worrying if it's a little off. So for example, if I'm having a pretty standard main course in a restaurant and a few drinks alongside it, I will usually set aside somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 calories. Or if I'm having something a little bit more substantial, so maybe a starter and a main, or maybe I'm going for a few higher calorie drinks, like I plan on having more than one cocktail, I'll probably set aside 2,000 plus. And this is a very simplified approach, but it just completely removes the stress from these situations. You don't need to look up menus days in advance. You don't need to decide what you want days in advance. You don't need to estimate calories in MyFitnessPal, and instead you can just go out, you can enjoy yourself, and if you are a few hundred calories off with your estimation, it doesn't really make a significant difference if you are on track with the rest of your meals for the week. But again, this is something that I'm actually really interested in, so I'd love to know what kind of balance you strike between your health and fitness goals and meals out and alcohol. Like, do you have a blueprint that really works well for you? Is it something that you really struggle with? Comment below and let me know. But I want to move on to talk about training, and I train 5 days per week, and to be honest, it's very rare I don't get those 5 sessions in. And I think one of the main reasons for this is because I have set days and I've set times for my sessions, and they don't change. So I know that every Monday to Friday at 8 AM I am in the gym. That is literally it. And I've grown to become a big fan of morning workouts over the years because I'm just getting my training in before anything can go wrong in the day. So if I have to work late one evening, if something goes wrong in my business, if somebody rings me with last minute plans, it's completely cool. I've already got my training in and it is not affecting that. And of course, if something comes up and I just cannot get one of my weekday workouts in for whatever reason, I will move it to a Saturday or a Sunday. That is completely fine. It is important to have that bit of flexibility. But I think for the most part, nailing down set days and set times for the majority of your workouts helps a huge amount. Okay, last but not least, I want to speak about something a little bit different, and that is always having something to look forward to, because you can enjoy your day-to-day routine and everything like that, but at the same time, it is always nice to have something at least once per week that just forces you to relax and break your normal day-to-day cycle. And this doesn't need to be anything hugely significant. Instead, it can be something as simple as going to the cinema. It could be going for a bite to eat in your favorite restaurant, or maybe trying somewhere new. It could be planning a fun day trip. It could be going on a hike, if that is something that you enjoy doing. It could be planning a weekend getaway once every couple of months. But going into every week, I just really like knowing that I'm gonna get my 5 workouts in, I'm gonna be on track with my nutrition, and then on Saturday, I'm going for a nice meal, or I'm going to see a movie that I really wanna see, or at the end of the month, I'm gonna be staying in a hotel for a couple of nights. It's just something that keeps mood high, it keeps motivation high, and it's always something to work towards. So yeah, I really do recommend scheduling in something every week, no matter how small it is, that just helps you completely relax and recharge the batteries. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap the video up there. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little bit different from me, so please comment below and let me know what you thought. If you want me to do more of these sit-down style videos, I will definitely do them. I actually really enjoy them. If you've got anything that you would like me to talk about, I would love to know as well, so comment below and let me know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Give the video a big thumbs up as well if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.